A dramatic chase that involved several crashes ended with a woman in handcuffs. New this noon, details on the charges she's now facing.
And the hiring spree continues as several industries try to bounce back from the pandemic, where you can apply today and get a job. Coming up.
Live from KSAT 12, the news at noon starts right now.
Fiesta bandits. It's what San Antonio police are calling the suspects behind several burglaries in Market Square that have happened after Fiesta events over the past few days.
Sarah Costa spoke with some vendors at Market Square about their concerns over these late night break-ins.
Because it has never happened before.
This Market Square vendor, who asked us not to release her name for safety reasons, says she has been selling in the park for several years, and she has never seen vendor tents burglarized like several have been in the past few days. San Antonio police released these photos of the suspects who they believe have burglarized, in some cases damaged, several vendor tents in Market Square during Fiesta. One vendor reported to police that their booth was hit twice in 2 days. Items stolen included wallets, purses, hunting knives, and utensils. There are multiple cameras in different locations across Market Square, but one local vendor says it's not enough.
We're not safe. We're not safe. So that means that probably security is not available after everything is closed.
If you recognize these suspects on your screen or have information related to these crimes, you're asked to call Central Property Crimes at 210-207-7990. Vendors hope the burglaries stop and hope that the suspects are turned in by the community or caught by police.
This is our business, and that's where we live from, and it's not fair that they come and do that.
Sarah Costa, KSAT 12 News.
We've got new details this noon after a chase on the west and south sides. Police are detailing what charges that suspect is now facing. Nini Shante Sumlin charged with 6 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and she was charged with 1 count of aggravated assault on a public servant. Bonds for all the charges total $450,000. Police say the trouble started after Sumlin showed up at a gas station in the 3600 block of Fredericksburg Road yesterday. Officers say she was causing traffic problems and asked her to leave. When she left, officers tried to pull her over. However, that's when police say she rammed into one of their vehicles on purpose and then hit other drivers. Sumlin was eventually taken away in handcuffs at a gas station near Zarzamora and Highway 90.
Vice President Kamala Harris now headed to the Texas-Mexico border this week. That's according to Politico, who is reporting that Harris will be in Texas on Friday, where she will stop in El Paso. She was tasked by the president to lead the effort to reduce the number of migrants arriving at the southern border at the start of this administration. This is her first visit. She's expected to be accompanied by Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. Now to the latest on the coronavirus pandemic. Concerns over the Delta variant here in the United States that continues to grow. As ABC's Rena Roy explains, health officials now urging everyone, particularly young people, to get vaccinated to help stop the variant from spreading.
As the U.S. turns the corner in this pandemic, now averaging 25 times fewer new cases than just 5 months ago, new fears the Delta variant could set us back.
The Delta variant is currently the greatest threat in the U.S. to our attempt to eliminate COVID-19.
The variant, originally from India, now discovered in at least 47 states and accounting for 1 in 5 cases here in the U.S. The numbers doubling every 2 weeks, and now concerns it could mutate. A new Delta Plus variant already found in India.
We know our vaccines work against this variant. However, this variant represents a set of mutations that could lead to future mutations that evade our vaccine.
Health officials say the key to stopping it is more shots into arms, particularly when it comes to young people.
We've got to stop it, and we've got to stop it by getting people vaccinated.
Right now, only about a third of 18 to 24-year-old Americans have been vaccinated. That age group seeing the highest rate of cases, along with 25 to 34-year-olds.
The reality is many younger Americans have felt like COVID-19 is not something that impacts them, and they've been less eager to get the shot.
We've been seeing much younger patients, and unfortunately, all of those unvaccinated and very sick.
The Biden administration was hoping to have 70% of American adults partially vaccinated by July 4th, but now say it'll take longer than expected to reach that goal.
And the CDC is holding an emergency meeting today to discuss heart inflammation in teens and young people following their vaccinations. Health officials say it is rare, with more than 20 million in that age group now vaccinated and just over 300 cases reported. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Judson ISD now has the now hiring sign out. Job hunting during the pandemic was tough for a while, and now several industries are going on hiring sprees. In fact, Judson has several open positions they are looking to fill during a job fair today. The district wants to hire teachers, teachers' aides, substitutes, bus drivers, custodians, as well as child nutrition and maintenance staff. If you want to apply, you have to go to Judson High School this afternoon at 2 o'clock. You'll need to bring an updated resume, contact information for references, and certification and degree information. The job fair ends at 6 this evening. And that's not the only job fair happening today. The hospitality industry, which was hit hard by the pandemic, is also looking for workers this noon.
More than 25 businesses from all over the city are taking part in that job fair right now. It's happening at the Alamo Dome. It ends at 2 o'clock this afternoon. Hotels, restaurants, and entertainment venues are looking to fill hundreds of job openings. Businesses looking to hire entry-level, part-time, temporary, and full-time positions. Right now, San Antonio is seeing a surge of visitors, and there's just not enough help to keep up with the demand.
We need people who have who've been missing in the workforce for whatever reason to come back out and join us. Our hotels have been very busy. We've had a very busy April, May, June. Our July will be very busy as well. And so candidly, we're all running a little short-staffed.
Job applicants can park for free in Lot A at the Alamo Dome. For more information, you can email jobfair@visitsanantonio.com.
And Joint Base San Antonio conducting a virtual hiring event for veterans and other qualified civilians. The Air Force Civilian Service is looking to fill 86 positions across the San Antonio area. Those interested can apply online. The deadline to submit applications is June 30th. You can find a link to apply and a list of open positions right now on our website, KSAT.com.
A very special guest visited VIA workers this morning. El Rey Feo, Thomas Aguillon, part of a celebration to acknowledge and thank the VIA workers who helped keep San Antonio moving safely. That includes people getting to and from the Fiesta events. VIA is offering park and ride service once again, and it says safety is at the top of its mind.
The guidelines that we have followed, continually cleaning our cleaning program that we have for our buses. We have a very vigorous way to make sure that we keep the safety of our customers and our employees top of mind.
Park and ride services are limited this year. It's being offered at the Crossroads and Madla Transit Centers through Friday. A round-trip ticket will cost you $5.
And it's night 2 of NIOSA. If you are headed that way, remember, there are no paper tickets this year. You can buy tickets online at niosa.org. And there will only be 2 spots at La Villita where you can buy tickets on site. That's at the CPS entrance and the Hilton entrance. And it's a cashless system this year, so don't forget to buy a wristband. If you're not vaccinated, NIOSA asks that you please wear a mask to the event. And it's not just NIOSA on deck for Fiesta fans tonight. Fiesta de los Reyes at Market Square and the Ford Mariachi Festival also continue today. Plus, you can celebrate Fiesta German style at the Feast Garden Fest from 5 until midnight at Beethoven Hall and Garden. And we have a full list of Fiesta events on our website, KSAT.com.
Lots of heat to finish out the week, but good news next week with some rain chances back in the forecast. We'll take a look at the 7-day coming up.
And also coming up, the Texas Longhorns live to play another day. There was a little controversy in the game yesterday. Larry Mears with all that coming up in sports.
Alzheimer's disease affecting not only those who get diagnosed, but their loved ones as well. That's why people in our community are working to raise money to help those touched by the disease. Max Massey will explain how you can help the cause after the break.
Alzheimer's disease affects hundreds of thousands of families across Texas, and there is no cure yet, but there is a new drug sparking optimism. And as Max Massey shows us, a big event happening this weekend aims to help raise money for research and help families in our community.
My godfather, Ron, was diagnosed at 59 and died 2 years ago from Alzheimer's.
For Greg Shudo, Alzheimer's is personal, and that's part of the reason why he wants to help more and more families across our community. It's also the reason he was smiling this morning, talking about a new drug approved by the FDA.
Aducanumab is the drug that was recently approved by the FDA. The idea is to remove the amyloid from the brain to allow people more time before the disease progresses to a certain point.
Our local Alzheimer's Association works to help fund research and works to help families in our area. A big fundraiser they have, The Longest Day.
The longest day is the summer solstice, which is in fact the longest day of the year. And on this day, we honor those who are caregivers for people living with dementias.
Big event this weekend, The Longest Day, and that is why we're here at Discovery Village. There is a car show, gorgeous cars here, joined here with the executive director, Michael. So why are you guys doing this?
Yes, Discovery Village Senior Living is really proud to host the third annual car show and partner up with the Alzheimer's organization.
The car show kicks off here at 8 a.m. Saturday morning, and there are big expectations to help a lot of families.
The goal is to raise at least $20,000, and we are very focused on that. We came close about 2 years ago, and I think this year we're real close to already getting to that point without the car show.
If you have any questions about the event, we have all that info right now. Just head to KSAT.com. Max Massey, KSAT 12 News.
Nice looking rise, isn't it?
Yeah, put the top down because it's hot. And I guess our rain chances this week aren't that great.
Not good at all this week, but next week the rain chances show back up. So that's the good news. A lot of times we get these heat highs and move in and they just sit here. We are going to get a heat high this week, but then it moves away. That is good to see. The aquifer is down a tenth of a foot today, 663.5, and your pollen count. Mold's a problem, 1460 thanks to that rain yesterday. We're going to take a look at the extended forecast coming up.
How many different ways can we say it? It's hot, it's humid.
I think it's like a broken record at this point. I mean, this is summertime in Texas. We expect this. What we would hope is that we had rain on the horizon, and we do.
That's right. This is where us meteorologists earn our money, is in the summer, really, because we got to figure out how we're going to fill a weathercast. It is hot, it is humid. That's the bottom line. Here's some stats, though, for you. And we've had a couple of people asking about 100-degree days. No, we've not hit 100 so far yet this year. The average first 100-degree day is June 30th. So we're coming up on that. Earliest we've ever seen 100-degree days, February 21st back in 1996. That was pretty impressive. And then the latest is September 1st, 1985. But with that being said, we've had 23 years total with 0 100-degree days. So it can't happen. The last time that happened was 2007. We'll see if that occurs this year. Typically, we always at least get a few. But so far, we've been doing pretty good. Rainfall helped, of course, early in spring. And as we look at the forecast heat index going forward, now that will be over 100. The air temperature is in the 90s, but it'll feel like it's in the triple digits today and probably through Saturday. Now, by Sunday, we'll get more clouds. Temperatures come down a little bit, and that will help us out. There's the scene out there right now. It just looks hot, doesn't it? 88 degrees at the airport. Mostly the partly cloudy skies, southerly winds at 8 miles per hour. The wind is gusting to 20 now, and temperatures in the upper 80s and low 90s here in Bexar County. 91 degrees Stinson, 88 Port SA, 86 Bandera, 88 up there in Comfort, and you are already at 90 in New Braunfels, 86 Kennedy, 91 Cotulla. Dew points. These numbers have been nothing short of impressive so far in late spring and early summer. And we're right back where we have been with these dew points staying really high. A lot of times we can get this humid air to sort of mix out during the afternoon. Hasn't really been happening, and so this is going to contribute to some big-time heat indices. Feels like 98 right now in San Antonio, so it's almost a guarantee that we'll see that heat index jump up above 100. Feels like 102 in Gonzales, 96 Kennedy, 102 in Pleasanton, and the forecast heat index is likely above 100 just about anywhere you go, minus the hill country today. Satellite picture shows we've got the off and on cloud cover. Very few of these clouds are holding any rain, but I will point out that we had one blip on the radar right there, just to the east of Cotulla. A little quick shower popped up. Can't rule it out today, but chances are most of us will be dry. Looking at the futurecast, there's the ridge of high pressure. It is actually building over us, but it's kind of on the move. It's not just going to sit here. It actually moves a little bit further east and kind of falls apart. Then we get into sort of I call it an odd pattern as we get into the weekend and next week. We get a big ridge developing over the west. This is going to bring some extreme heat to places like Seattle and Portland. I mean, they've been dealing with some pretty nice weather, so we're going to share some of that heat with them. And you'll get a trough across the middle part of the country, and this sort of helps us out. This puts us in an unsettled pattern. Tries to bring a front into North Texas. We'll see if that makes it all the way down to our neck of the woods. But we'll also get some moisture coming in from the Gulf. These two things combined, just an overall unsettled pattern, means we'll get some downpours next week. It'll be hit or miss type stuff, but I think we have a decent chance for some showers and maybe a couple storms Monday into Tuesday, and it looks like maybe even down the road Wednesday, Thursday of next week. So we've put some rain chances in. No rain tonight. If you're heading out to Nyosa, it looks good. Just know that it will be hot and it will be humid. 95 degrees at 5 o'clock. Temperatures will eventually drop into the upper 80s, and 9 p.m. it should say partly cloudy, not just partly. Southeasterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. The extended forecast, 95 tomorrow, 96 Friday, 95 Saturday, and then there are the rain chances. 20% Sunday, 30% Monday, and 40% Tuesday. Maybe, just maybe, we can raise those rain chances a little bit as we get closer, guys.
Let's do it. Thank you.
Yep.
It looks like I was looking at that, but
I know that's not right here.
Okay.
Here's Jesus.
No, I got it. The Kawhi-less Clippers are starting to pay for being Kawhi-less.
They are indeed, but I'll tell you what, they're certainly keeping pace with the Phoenix Suns. So that says a lot about the Clippers despite having no Kawhi Leonard. Last night's game went down to a thrilling alley-oop buzzer beater. Plus, last night as well, the Spurs learned where they will pick in the upcoming draft. Coming up.
Crowder looking, throws it alley-oop. Oh! Ayton puts it down! He puts it down! It's over!
The Suns stunned the Clippers with an alley-oop buzzer beater in big board sports. Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals between the Suns and Clippers last night saw 8 ties and 11 lead changes. Less than 30 seconds left in the fourth. Paul George gives the Clippers their final lead, 103-102. Same score, 9/10 of a second left. Off the inbounds pass, Jay Crowder finds big man DeAndre Ayton for the alley-oop slam dunk. And good night, Clippers. The knockout blow. The referee spent about a minute reviewing the play before ruling the bucket was good. LAC had 7/10 of a second left to get a shot off. They didn't, and the Suns win Game 2, 104-103, taking a 2-0 series lead.
Well, I'll start off by saying that's definitely Jay's game winner. Making a great pass or a 7-footer. Other than that, Coach drew up a great play where, I was in the best position. My teammates trust me and my coaches trust me. And, great Book set a great screen. That freed me up into the lane to at least gather my feet and go for the ball. And the rest is, just off my athleticism and my talent, Jay set it up right there perfectly.
I don't think you like to start 2 games in a hole. I don't think that's our plan. I mean, this game, I played a lot of games in this league. This one goes up there. But we've been in the trenches before. We respond well in the trenches. And, we'll respond well. We always do.
Patrick Beverley and Devin Booker knock heads in the third quarter, resulting in 3 stitches on Booker's nose, which he also needed to have taped up, and a bandage on Beverley's head. Game 3 is tomorrow night at 8 in Los Angeles. The Spurs will select 12th in the 2021 NBA draft. That's after the results of the NBA draft lottery last night. And it's not bad when you consider they selected 11th last season and were able to land Devin Vassell, who played a total of 62 games as a rookie. Spurs managing partner Peter J. Holt was the team's representative last night. Meantime, the Detroit Pistons beat out Houston and Orlando, who all had a 14% chance to land the top pick. The Pistons are expected to select Cade Cunningham out of Oklahoma State with the first pick when the NBA holds the draft on July July 22nd. College World Series, Texas playing Tennessee in an elimination game. Bottom of the fourth, tied at 4. The Horns charge forward. Silas Ardoin hits the ball to right field. 1 run scores easily. Doug Hodo III, a redshirt freshman from Bernie, is waved home. There's a play at the plate, and he beats the throw. It's 6-4 Texas. I mean, that was close. The umps reviewed and upheld the original call of safe at home. And look how close that is. Tennessee didn't agree. The Horns went 8-4 and will face Virginia tomorrow night in another elimination game. Ooh, game of inches. Actually, less than inches there.
Bit of controversy.
Yep.
He did a good job blocking the play.
He did.
I don't know. Close.
We have a new warning as America heads off to the beaches and the pools this summer. There is a nationwide lifeguard shortage. What's behind it? Coming up in your next half hour.
And the Biden administration is addressing the recent surge in violent crimes across the nation. Details on the measures that are set to be announced in order to curb that surge. Still ahead.
New today at 5, tired of cooking dinner with a dull kitchen knife? Turns out that's not only aggravating, it is dangerous as well. Today at 5, we're going to explain what tools you're going to need to get your kitchen cutlery to last for years. The Supreme Court ruling on several cases this morning, one of them dealing with police and search warrants. The Supreme Court ruling unanimously that police cannot enter a home without a warrant when it deals with a minor crime. The case in question involved a California man who was playing his music too loudly in his car on the street, violating a noise ordinance, when an officer followed him home and entered his garage without a warrant. The Supreme Court still finds it lawful to conduct warrantless searches when pursuing a fleeing felon.
The Supreme Court also ruled that a Pennsylvania public school wrongly suspended a cheerleader over a vulgar social media post. The court voted in favor of Brandy Levy. She was a 14-year-old high school freshman when she expressed her disappointment over not making the varsity cheerleading team on a Snapchat with a string of curse words and a raised middle finger. Levy was not in school when she made her post, but was suspended from cheerleading activities for a year anyway. The high court ruled the suspension violated her First Amendment rights, but the justices did not foreclose schools from disciplining students for what they say off campus.
This afternoon, President Joe Biden will tell us what his administration is doing to combat the surge of violent crime being experienced across the nation. His administration says they're focusing on gun violence and funding cities that need police support, as well as offering community support. The president will announce a zero-tolerance policy this afternoon, which will give no leeway to gun dealers who fail to comply with federal laws. He says their license to sell will be revoked on the first offense. As well, the Justice Department is launching strike forces in Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Washington, D.C. to take down illegal gun traffickers.
Democrats trying to find a new pathway for their voting rights legislation. That was blocked by Republicans yesterday in the Senate.
The White House is insisting, though, the fight is not over. ABC's Elizabeth Schultze has the latest from Washington.
Democrats' far-reaching attempt to reform elections and protect and expand voting rights is now stalled, blocked by a wall of Republican opposition.
The motion is not agreed to.
All 50 Senate Republicans banded together to vote against moving ahead with debate on the For the People Act. It would have taken steps like making Election Day a federal holiday, requiring 15 consecutive days of early voting, and limiting partisan gerrymandering. Republicans calling it a federal takeover of election law.
This is not a federal issue. It ought to be left to the states. There's nothing broken around the country. The system upheld very well during intense stress.
Yet at least 16 Republican-led state legislatures have recently enacted laws putting new restrictions on voting, citing unproven issues with the 2020 election.
Republican state legislatures across the country are engaged in the most sweeping voter suppression in 80 years.
To help counter these state measures, Democrats and the Biden administration are vowing to continue to fight, saying federal voting rights legislation is a top priority. And while all 50 Democrats were unified in the Senate vote, their effort faces no clear path forward in Congress without any Republican support, or without reforming the filibuster rule that requires 60 votes to debate most legislation.
When we're talking about the right to vote, it is not a Republican concern or a Democratic concern. It is an American concern.
Now, Vice President Harris has been tasked with leading the Biden administration's response to protect and enhance voting rights. She's meeting with voting rights advocates this afternoon at the White House. Elizabeth Schulze, ABC News, Washington.
Outside with live cam, hot, humid, some dirt starting to show some signs of cracking a little bit. So we could use a little more rain.
We could. That way we don't have to turn the sprinklers on, but we're getting to that point, right? Our yards are starting to get a little crunchy. Rain is in the forecast as we get into next week, so we'll get a little bit of a pattern change. But I wanted to show you this great picture we got in on KSAT Connect. This is from Dennis, and what we're looking at here, and he says right on time, these are eggs laid last Saturday by monarch butterflies, and right on cue, they're hatching. Pretty cool. That's I haven't seen that before, but that is a very cool shot. And Dennis, we appreciate that. I wonder if that's milkweed. I'm guessing maybe that's those monarch butterflies. I think that's where they lay some of their eggs. But thank you, sir. We appreciate it. And let's take a look at the temperatures outside right now. 88 degrees at the airport, 88 Randolph, 86 Tarpley, 88 in Bandera, some 90s starting to show up. So yes, it is another hot one out there. As we look down towards the coast, if you have plans to head there, next couple of days, air temperatures will be in the 90s. Water temperatures are in the mid 80s, so that's pretty nice. Rip current is, the risk is pretty low. Surf's 2 to 3 feet. And we'll get some good southeasterly winds. There have been a couple showers down there, but nothing too much to worry about. Looking at the radar right now, the coast is relatively clear. We did have one little shower show up around Katua, and there's an outside chance of a pop-up shower today. But if we do see one, it will be very quick. Temperatures up around 95 for your high, 91, 7 o'clock, down to 85 by the 10 o'clock hour. Guys.
All right, Justin, thank you. Beaches and pools are in need of lifeguards in cities across the country. That's because there is a shortage of lifeguards. The pandemic largely to blame, with some areas finding they can't hire and certify lifeguards fast enough. This comes just as summer starts and more people want to hit the water. Some pools, like one at a state park in Pennsylvania, was forced to close due to staffing shortages. In Ohio, notices are on Facebook and they're turning away eager pool goers. And we're seeing the shortage here in Texas as well. In Austin, the city's Parks and Recreation Department says it has just 250 lifeguards this summer. They usually have 750 in a typical year.
We just don't have the time to get the lifeguards trained and on payroll for this summer.
And safety experts warn you that you should make sure there is a lifeguard on duty even if you are a strong swimmer.
The pandemic forced a lot of movies to hit the brakes, but now that new Fast and Furious movie is racing onto the big screen. How the stars are feeling ahead of the release, coming up in the spotlight.
And Zeke Elliott's not talking to the media these days, but a few of his teammates are talking for him and about him. Larry Mears will have that coming up in sports. The original, The Fast and Furious, debuted 20 years ago this week.
And after being delayed by the pandemic, the latest movie in the Fast saga is now arriving in theaters.
CNN's Rick Damigella has more for us.
The world has a way of changing.
After being delayed more than a year by the pandemic, F9, The Fast saga, rides into theaters.
There are moments that separate us. Come back together.
It not only feels good to get it in front of audiences, it feels good to see something called an audience. It's been a year and we didn't realize that everything could be taken away from us. Even something as simple or something we took for granted, which was being able to see movies with the community, with a group, with an audience.
Listen, you never know how much you miss something until it's almost taken away from you. And I'm just happy to be a part of a franchise that is making moviegoers around the world come back to the theater, man. It feels so great to be a part of that.
So how do y'all want to play this?
Fast.
We're going on! F9 brings back familiar faces and introduces new ones.
Well, Han's older. You know, his priorities and his purpose in life is different now.
We introduced a very new, important role. Jacob, John Cena, he's our brother, and so that's a huge surprise. And it was also really cool because that then enabled me to go further back into our backstory and learn so much about the Toretto family.
Brother against brother. This should be interesting.
In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Live look outside with live cam. Pretty clouds out there, but don't expect them to help you out a whole lot today. Right, Justin?
No, lots of heat. Lots of heat. We're up to 88 so far. 78 was the low this morning. And you see some of those clouds maybe trying to bubble up. We're not expecting much in the way of rain today, though. 102, that's the record high that was set back in 1990. The record low 63 set back in 1920. That sounds nice. We won't be anywhere near that thanks to all this humidity that is in place. But eventually, rain does come back to the forecast. We'll take a look coming up.
This day in Fiesta history is powered by your local San Antonio area Chevy dealers.
And as the vendors get set up, many of us are hoping the weather will hold up too.
Everyone looks at Justin. But that's where the rain rock comes in.
It's an old West Texas folklore thing.
It defies science and logic, and it might have the power to control April showers. It's the Nyosa Rain Rock. According to the Fiesta website, the hanging of the rain rock dates back to the late 1970s. In one of those years, some ominous clouds rolled in, and the Nyosa chairman became worried. Sue Armitage, a night and old San Antonio volunteer, offered some hope with a magical practice learned from a West Texas cowboy. She hung a rock and assured the chairman clear skies. The following week, the weather was perfect, and everyone's beers remained raindrop-free. Although it's never been studied scientifically, to this day, the rock is still hung at Nyosa headquarters in La Villita, warding off bad weather during Fiesta's major events.
Is it hanging up now?
It's hanging up now, but I can remember some years it didn't work, and I remember some years that it did work. Did we ever figure out statistically how accurate it is?
I believe I heard them say yesterday it was 50-50, of course. But it's doing pretty well this year.
Yeah.
I mean, the weather's a little hot, but we aren't getting any rain or anything like that. So it seems to be working out just fine. Let's take a look at the aquifer because it is starting to decline a little bit. It's down to 663.5. 10-day average is 666. Looks like that the aquifer will continue to fall a little bit until we can get some more rain. And that, again, is scheduled for next week. But thankfully, we built up a pretty good surplus with our last rounds of rain. Current temperatures, one of the hot spots in the state, which is sort of unusual, is Amarillo. They're up to 90 right now. They've got some heat advisories posted up there. Waco also matches them with 90, as does Laredo, and we're pretty close behind them there at 88 degrees. So all of Texas, pretty toasty right now, and dew points are way up there, not only for us, but for places like Dallas, even Abilene, Wichita Falls. So this moisture is getting pushed north, and that's creating heat indices for just about everybody. And you look at the forecast heat index today, which is this yellow number here. Even places like Lubbock will have a little bit of a heat index. Waco for sure, Dallas, here in San Antonio, we're expecting it to feel like 102 this afternoon. So does a hot go of it anywhere you travel across the state, and there are some heat advisories, as I mentioned, up across the Texas Panhandle and then far west Texas. Outside right now, we've got partly cloudy skies here in town, 88 degrees at the airport, 91 Stinson, 88 Kelly, and 88 at Randolph. Southerly winds at, at about 8 miles per hour. And you see some of the cloud cover is trying to break up. We had some of those morning low clouds. Those have since dissipated, and I think we'll see more sun as we get into the afternoon, pushing those temperatures even warmer. 91 degrees Stinson right now, 90 New Braunfels, 86 Bernie Stage, 81 Rock Springs, and 85 as you get out in Del Rio. Heat index locally is up to 104 now in Gonzales, 98 Kennedy, 102 Pleasanton. This is that corridor that really, I think the numbers will be pretty big today, probably 105 plus in some of these areas where the humidity is really thick. Forecast here in San Antonio is for that heat index to be around 102, 105 in Creosote Springs. Everybody up above that century mark for the feels like temperature, minus the hill country. I think you'll probably stay in the 90s there. Looking at the radar, we haven't seen much of anything other than one little blip we showed you earlier there around Cotulla. It lasted about 5-10 minutes, and it's already gone. So if we do see anything else today, it will be very short-lived. We're not expecting much in the way of rainfall. Big pattern here, we see high pressure starting to move in over Texas. There is some heat-relieving rains out across the western part of the country. They need that rain desperately. Good to see that's on the map. And then some showers down around Florida. Otherwise, quiet pattern for now. That high pressure moves across Texas. That keeps us pretty toasty this week. And then we get a bit of a pattern change by the weekend. Big ridge high pressure builds in over the Pacific Northwest, making temperatures very hot up there. But for us, it's more of an unsettled pattern. And it looks like we could get some showers and storms in here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. Some downpours. Rain chances look pretty decent. Forecast for tonight, if you're heading out to Nyosa, hot, of course, 95 degrees at 5 o'clock. We'll drop down into the 80s by the evening hours. And there are other rain chances starting Sunday, just a slight chance, but better chances Monday into Tuesday. And temperatures drop too into the low 90s.
Ooh, we like to see that.
Very nice.
Thank you, Justin.
So why don't we hear from Zeke Elliott? What's the deal? What you hiding?
I don't know. He just doesn't want to talk to the media. Why don't you give him a call, David? Maybe he'll talk to us.
Maybe he'll talk to me.
He might.
There you go.
Talk to you.
Hey, coming up first, though, in sports, we're going to talk about Mario Barrios. He made a quick trip into town yesterday. I mean, he was here probably about an hour before he left to head over to Atlanta ahead of his fight coming up this weekend. And speaking of our world champions here in town, Joshua Franco, Andrew Maloney, the trilogy is set. We got it coming up. The champ, Mario Barrios, got a sweet World Championship Aztec Warrior welcome home in big board sports. This weekend, San Antonio World Champion Mario Barrios put his WBA super lightweight title on the line when he faces Gervonta Davis in the main event on Showtime's worldwide card. Live from Atlanta, El Azteca is 26-0 with 17 knockouts, while his opponent Davis is also undefeated at 24-0 with 23 KOs and is moving up 2 weight classes to fight Barrios. Before stepping into the ring on Saturday, Barrios held a press conference at San Antonio's International Airport, complete with Aztec warriors playing drums and dancing. Quite the entrance for El Azteca himself.
This was new, but I mean it was nice. I mean it's very motivating. It just it's a reminder of everything that is unfolding in front of me, and all the hard work that I had to continue on putting in.
If you'd like to purchase the Barrios Davis pay-per-view main event and the resulting undercard on Saturday, you can do so for $69.99. And fellow San Antonio boxer and WBA World Super Flyweight Champion Joshua Franco will fight Andrew Maloney for a third time when they meet up on August 14th, likely in Oklahoma. KSAT 12 Sports was able to confirm the report with Joshua last night. The fight is happening. In June of 2020, Franco beat Maloney for the belt, and then back in November, in their second fight, it ended in a controversial no contest after the second round because of swelling around Franco's right eye. Referee Russell Moore ruled it a no contest, stating the swelling over his eye was due to an accidental headbutt.
Pro football coverage powered by Davis Law Firm.
And the Dallas Cowboys kick off their training camp in California less than a month from now. It'll be our first opportunity to hear from Cowboys star running back Ezekiel Elliott. Now, whether it's the fact he's facing 2 legal matters involving his dogs or coming off the worst season of his career, he's avoided talking to the media. He's facing a lawsuit after claims Zeke's Rottweiler bit someone back in March. When this past May, he was cited by police in Frisco after 3 of his dogs got out, and one of them, the Rottweiler, bit 2 people who had to be taken to the hospital. But he's also coming off a season where he averaged a career-low 4 yards per carry with just 6 touchdowns, and he had a career-high 6 fumbles with 5 lost. So we have seen video of him working out, but we have to rely on others to give us an update on Zeke, like his teammates.
He's definitely been locked in. I can tell he's, took the right step forward this offseason, getting his body right and getting in shape. And, me and him, we also worked out together a lot of times during the offseason. So, we both were locked in this offseason getting ready.
We'll find out when the Cowboys report to Oxnard July 20th, and KSAT 12 Sports will be there. In the bigs yesterday, the Astros beat the Orioles 3-1 for their 9th straight win, and the A's hammered the Rangers 13-6, dropping Texas to 21 games below 500.
Were you here when Don King came to town?
Oh, yeah.
And doing all that promotion for the box? That's what the entrance for Mario kind of reminded me of.
Reminds you of
those
that,
old days when they was put on these big shows just arriving in the city.
Yeah.
So
it was a pretty cool entrance indeed.
Yeah, like that.
We'll remember that one.
Good stuff there. All right, Larry, thank you much. Speaking of good stuff, Mike and Fiona, let's see. I don't see food.
But
just
our
wait.
medals.
You will.
Oh, never doubt us.
No.
Because that is what we do.
Right. However, it is a Wild Wednesday, and we're not just talking about everything going on down here at Market Square with Fiesta and Dia de los Reyes, but we've got really wild stuff.
Yes, Robert Trejo from Zoomagination is here and introduce us to Yogi the Sloth.
Yes, Yogi is 9 years old. He is a two-toed sloth. You can tell by looking at his two front claws. And the three-toed sloths have 3 toes in the front, 3 in the back.
He's asleep.
He is asleep, yeah. He
is.
likes to be in his bucket. He loves his bucket. This is something he's done since he was a very young sloth.
And this sloth can come to you, obviously a lot faster than on its own, because you will get them there, right?
Correct. We offer sloth interaction programs where we come directly to your home and you can interact with Yogi and other sloths, and now he's going to go to sleep.
That's he just wants his blankie. He says, that's it. That's all I was paid for.
That's not his commentary on our show. We have animals, Robert has animals from around the world, and we are going on a little bit of a flight with Costa Pacifica, a flight of tostadas with some beautiful seafood on them, and also I see 3 glasses over there and some really yummy looking things
yes.
to spawn.
I booked both our tickets on these flights.
Thank you very much.
Don't you worry. I took care of us. And Jen is celebrating with more food ahead of the second night of NIOSA.
That's right. We are going around the world here at NIOSA. We're getting a sneak peek at some of the delicious food because there are so many different areas here. You can get everything from beignets to these fried jalapenos, and we are going to sample some of the food coming up, guys. I'm excited. Viva Fiesta.
Viva Fiesta
Indeed.
is right. Okay, so we have started our collection of Fiesta medals for this year.
Even a few on the back there.
Oh, look, he spins. Do your jingle. Yeah, we can't sneak up on anybody right now. But do you have a favorite Fiesta medal so far?
Or just show your whole sash if you got a whole bunch of them out there. That and a lot more coming up on SA Live.